This episode is helped made possible by our friends at saltlakeCityConcerts.net. Head on over and find out about all of the bands coming to town very soon. Welcome to I Am Salt Lake Podcast. This is episode 43. My name is Chris Hollifield. I am the host. This is my show, so welcome to it. If you haven't gone online, IamSaltLake.com. That's going to connect you with the website. You can go there. You can listen to all the back catalog, all of the previous episodes. You can stream them directly from the website, or you can download them and put them onto your MP3 player and listen whenever you want. You can also connect on iTunes. Go onto iTunes, leave us a review. Tell me what you think of the show. Helps us get exposed to more people. That way, more people find out and the show grows. The voicemail line is always open, 385-202-5926. Give me a call. Tell me what you think. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook, both under the name of I Am Salt Lake. Connect with me. Try to keep you guys up to date on everything Salt Lake City and what's going on in the area. And just have a good time mingling and getting to know you guys. So, this episode's guest is an up-and-coming local stand-up comedian, Jay Whittaker. Really, really cool guy. We sat down, we talked. I found out kind of how he got into stand-up, found out how he got to Utah, found out all about Jay Whittaker. It was a really good time. We found out, I found out he's playing this upcoming weekend at Ogden's, at the Wiseguys in Ogden. It's his first show in Ogden, so go up there and support him. If for some reason you're listening to this after this weekend, follow him on Facebook and Twitter, and make sure to pay attention to when his next show is, because this is one guy you do not want to miss. I'm going to put all the links at iamsaltlake.com/episode 43. The information for Wiseguys, his Facebook, his Twitter, anything that you need to get in touch with Jay Whittaker is going to be there. So go check that out. Also, drop me an email. Tell me what you think of the show. IamSaltLake@gmail.com. I'd love to hear back from you. So without going on any further, I'm going to jump right into the conversation that I had with him. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Are you from Utah, or where are you from? What's your...
I'm originally I was born and raised in California.
What part of California?
I was born in Glendale, and then I moved out to Inglewood.
Okay.
Inglewood back in the 80s, back, when it was, Ice Cube and all that, and NWA, and it was fun. And then I moved out to Orange County when I left grade school, went to 7th and 8th grade, and went out to Mission Viejo, graduated from Mission Viejo High School. I can't believe I'm saying this on a podcast, but oh well.
No, I mean, I grew up in Ventura, so if
Ventura, okay.
Yeah,
there was somebody at a show last night
from Ventura.
Yeah, because I do a bit on like how I'm from LA and from Cali, and so everybody was like, "Oh," I'm just like, "Where are you from?" Shouted out. This dude's like, "Ventura." I was like, "Really?" That rarely happens. So
yeah,
that rarely happens when you meet two people from Ventura in Utah in. Oh no, that's rare.
So where was your show at last night?
This was at the Wiseguys in West Valley. I was opening for I was a featured act for Brandon T. Jackson from Tropic Thunder, Percy Jackson. What else was he in? He was the dude that played. You seen Tropic Thunder?
The movie, yeah.
Yeah. He was the dude that played
Ben Stiller, yeah.
Yeah, the gay rapper, the black dude.
Okay.
Not Robert Downey Jr., the black dude, but he played that black dude, the Al Pacino, the one that had the energy drink booty sweat or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, we had a good show. It was live. Holy man, it was live. A lot of great crowd. It was a great crowd, great vibe, a lot of energy. We had a DJ, DJ Jar Vicious. He's a local guy. He's a local guy around here. Was killing it. It was just a fun time.
Right on. So what got you into stand-up? I mean, what were some of your first introductions? I mean, how did you just start doing like open mic nights or?
Well, it kind of like it's kind of a long story because I mean, there's different parts. There's different parts of my life. I mean, I had a funny family. I come from my parents divorced when I was 3. My mom is very colorful, very energetic. My dad is kind of smooth, kind of a little black and white. But my parents were different. My mom's from the South. She's from North Carolina, and then she moved to Boston for a little bit. And then my pops, he's from Chicago, Detroit, and New York, and then moved out to LA. So I mean, I got this weird East Coast, Midwest vibe, and Southern vibe. But then I'm just this kid from Cali.
Yeah.
And I grew up just kind of watching a lot of stand-up. My pops always had it sounds like the typical stand-up story. Like, I used to sneak and listen to Richard Pryor records, but that's really what I was doing. I was listening to that, and I would listen to Eddie Murphy. I saw Raw first. I saw Raw like a ton of times, and then I didn't see Delirious till I was like 23. It was really yeah, it was really weird. It was really weird. But
dude, old Eddie Murphy, I love it. I love it.
Unbelievably talented. It was 2 specials that actually, and then there was a lot of stuff. I remember watching, especially in the 90s. That's when everything started happening. I started being around more comedy.
And you were in California at this time.
This is all when I was living in L.A. I come from family. My family is Mark Curry, who a lot of people remember him from hanging with Mr. Cooper, from TGIF and everything. And so he was Mr. Cooper, and so I would always be hanging around on set. I got a chance to meet, Raven Simone when they brought her on the show. And,
so wait, you were related to Mr. Cooper then?
No, I am. I'm technically he's my cousin, but he prefers to call me, I call him uncle. But I don't really tell people that, so now it's out there. But, I grew up watching him. That's really what started. He's from Oakland, and I'll go see him when he comes to the Brea Improv. I'd just be this little kid that'd be in the back of the Improv. I'm like, who the hell is this kid? And that was me, and I'd just be sitting there watching him. He's 6'6", so he's got a big presence when he comes on stage, and so I just got caught up in that, just watching him.
Yeah.
And it was like really cool just to see someone that you look up to go out there and make people laugh, and I've always loved making people laugh. That was like kind of the. I just grew around it. I mean, and Mark comes like, oh God.
So you were always comfortable being around the celebrities and even in front of people,
right? Well, my pops, he was he had his little side hustle working as he was a promoter.
Okay.
And back in the '80s, he put on shows at the Palace, the Palladium, all these little places, and I'd just be this little kid that would just be backstage with all these dancers and singers. I mean, like I got a chance to meet Jamie Foxx as a young kid.
And when you say young kid, I mean we're talking about like 10, or we're talking 8, or
7 through 12. I mean, like it was just random. I mean, it was just really cool. It was really cool, and
wow.
And it was just like it was weird because it almost like it was planted a seed for me that I would just be around all this atmosphere, and I didn't necessarily.
So the first time you got on stage, then, I mean, when did you decide to do something?
2 years ago, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
2 years ago. Let's fast forward.
Yeah.
I moved out to. I got involved in theater. In high school, I was in musicals. Yes. People listening. I don't talk about it much, but I was in West Side Story. I did that for a minute. I did. What else was I? I think I was in Guys and Dolls. And
like school plays.
Yeah,
or
school
more,
plays.
More,
but I also did some. I did some stuff at junior college and stuff, and I did a couple theater festivals. And so I just grew up being around, just used to being on stage or something.
Very comfortable around people.
Yeah, just comfortable around people. I did a lot of music. I started out as an MC, rapper. Those were the days when everybody was trying to be the next lyrical, subliminal, blah 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 blah. I don't know, whatever, but.
So you were in a rap group then?
Yeah, it was called. Get this, it was called Mental Advisory, not Parental Advisory. We were called Mental Advisory in our first album. Instead of explicit lyrics, it was Mental Advisory Exquisite Lyrics. It's just like the dorkiest thing I ever. It was crazy.
And this is still in California.
Yeah, this is still in Cali. After high school, I ended up I was running track. I was heavily involved in sports, and then I ended up joining the military. And I joined the Air Force, and I've been in like 10 years. This will be year number 10, and that's what brought me out here. I got stationed out here.
Okay.
And so now I have a son out here, and I love being around my son. And so a friend of mine who suggested that I join the military, his name is Robert Sickles. He joined 3 days after 9/11.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, he just signed up, went straight to the Air Force. He comes home on his mid-tour, and he tells me, I'm just saying, like, how do you like it, man? And he's like, you know what? It ain't, it's perfect. Him and I, we known each other for years. We went to high school together. We grew up running track, played football together. I was cool with his family, and just told me what it had to offer, and it was, at the time, it was exactly what I needed. College at the time I just didn't necessarily know exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of Cali, but just looked for a different way. And so then we just, I joined the Air Force, and
so did you ever come to Utah before that, like to visit anybody?
No, it was crazy. I didn't even know anything about Utah. The only thing I knew about Utah was Karl Malone was talking shit about Magic Johnson, and like for years I just hated Karl Malone. I'm serious, because he was talking smack about Magic Johnson. I hated Karl Malone for so long, which is crazy because we'll get to that later, but yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But so then joined the military, and Robert always told me, like, just you funny. A lot of people knew I was funny, and so I used to do crazy stuff like walk to my English class in my boxers, and I'd wear spandex a lot to school. This is crazy. I'm talking about stupid stuff.
You were just a class clown.
I was kind of a class clown, but I was just a goofball. I mean, we were all kids at one point. I was just this silly kid. Robert I got stationed in Utah, and I begged to go anywhere else but Utah. No disrespect. So
it's
but cool. I mean, like, I put everywhere, like, you can put like your preferences of where you want to go, and I put like all these surrounding areas because I wanted to stay close to home to Cali. So I put like all these bases in Arizona, all the bases in Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and New Mexico, and Nevada, and what do? They send me
right to Utah.
But everything happens for a reason. I came here in 2004. It's actually just panned out. And the sad thing is Robert actually got killed on New Year's Eve of 2011. Like it was New Year's Day of 2011. Wow. And so that's kind of that was the catalyst for all this. I went home for his funeral, and I was thinking like how I could honor him. And he always told me that I should try to do comedy one day. And so that was my okay. And then so it was just kind of a way for me to deal with it. And then Kevin Hart came out here, I think January 14th of 2011 at a Bravo Hall.
Okay.
Crazy show. I went and saw it with DJ Jarvicious and my man DJ E-Flex, and shout out Bree and Mix 107. Those are cool people. But I went and saw it with them. Saw Kevin Hart just come out here and rip it. Just rip it. It wasn't racial jokes like, hey, black people do this and white people do this. But Kevin Hart, at the time, he's just one of the biggest comics right now, and just came out here and crushed. And I said, you know what, I want to do something like that. Like Robert told me I should give it a shot. So I went and did it. So 2 weeks, like a couple weeks later, I get some couple jokes together. I came with a couple friends. We talked about just checking it out. Just wanted to check it out. And I watched like 3 people bomb, and I was like,
You're checking it out at
Wiseguys.
At Wiseguys.
Yeah,
okay.
Wiseguys
Open mic night.
Square. Yeah,
open mic night
on Wednesday nights, and at the Charlie Square location. Comedian Tim Thorne was hosting.
Yeah.
And I just said, I approached him. I missed the sign up. I was late, but Tim was cool enough to get me on, and I was like, hey. I was thinking about trying it. I'm like, if y'all got room, I missed the sign up sheet. I can come back next week, but he's like, you want to go up? I'm like, yeah, I don't necessarily have anything planned because I just was there to check it out. I was going to go back the next week, and I just went up.
So you didn't have notes or anything?
Not necessarily. I just went up there and talked about what I thought was funny at the time. Right. And I just got off work, so I looked like I walked off the Cosby Show. Like I was wearing like the little sweater. But I went up there and just rambled on for 3 minutes, got some decent laughs, and Tim told me to come back, and so I just kept. And for me, it was a way of dealing with the pain of losing a very good friend of mine. And then it was just, I've been through a lot. I've been through a divorce, and I'm a single parent. I've been to Iraq. So there was a lot of things that I just needed to.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah, it was cathartic for me just to get up there and just talk. I mean, because I think it's funny now because some people have a therapist that they pay. To talk about their problems, and now I'm kind of at the point where I'm starting to get paid to talk about my problems. So it's great, and stand up is so stand up is just it's such a free form of expression. It's one of the last methods of free speech that we mediums of free speech that we do have, because you can get up there and really say anything as long as it's funny. People will roll with you on it, and.
You just kept going and doing it.
Wednesday night.
And when did you know? Okay, I love this. This is what I want to keep doing. At what point? Right away, or was it?
It was pretty much right away.
Right away.
It was right away. I mean, I was like, because at one point, once I realized how often I started befriending the other comics, started asking questions. I even tried. February 2nd was my first time doing comedy, and then Bill Burr came to town.
Oh, nice.
in March, I want to say March 13th. And I thought, like, you know, I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I want to be a stand-up comic. This is where it's at. So I emailed the owner, Keith Stubbs. I emailed him. I'm like, hey, my name is Jay Whittaker. This is nice professionally. I got to find this shit because I know it's somewhere. And he's going to sit there and read this shit. But he's like, I was wondering, you know, if maybe I can open up for Bill Burr. I was like, I'd only been doing comedy less than, you know, barely a month. And here I am asking to open for, you know, Bill Burr. This shit's just crazy.
It doesn't happen normally.
Yeah, of course I got no response. But I was hungry, you know, and I was, you know, my pops always told me stay humble, stay hungry, and so like, but it was just something about it that I wanted to do. I would try to go up and get up anywhere, you know. Tuesday nights they had open mic at Complex, and I still check that out every now and then I would go to Johnny's on Second on Mondays and do time there, and that was like always a rough crowd because it's Johnny's on Second. It's just a certain vibe.
I've never been there for comedy.
If you could do stand up at Johnny's on Second, you could do stand up anywhere because that place was rough at the time.
Nobody wants to laugh.
Yeah,
or what?
No, it was just like, I don't know. It was just as soon as you step on stage, everybody's like, "Fuck you," and everything you stand for. No, but I learned that, and then check out Moe's Neighborhood Grill, and on Sundays. Started doing time there and just started getting the set together and started networking, started utilizing my network of friends from the military, friends from my regular job.
So, I mean, you blew up pretty fast, though. I mean, in reality, right or no? I mean, because now you got a show coming up this next weekend at Wiseguys. I mean, and that doesn't happen for a lot of these guys that are doing.
It was kind of strange. It's still kind of strange to me but you know, I really owe that to my friends. I mean, and just being. You know, social media, good Lord, man.
So the local comedy scene kind of took you in?
Yeah, they took me in.
They gave you support and feedback?
Yeah. And what really started, Tim Thorne really kind of helped me tighten up one of my signature bits that I do. And, you know, I remember I kept doing this joke over and over. But I always had new material. I wasn't afraid to go up with new material. You're like, I used to work in sales, so I'd just be like, all right, I can kind of bullshit my way through this.
Yeah.
But Tim told me, I remember it was like the 5th open mic, and he said, that bit is perfect. He said, don't touch it. And like I didn't. Now, fast forward 2 years later, I've kind of restructured it just a little bit. But, you know, like other than that, that's when I knew. I was like, all right. What really started happening was Guy Seidel and Marcus from Last Comic Standing. And Marcus kind of took me under his wing. It was like weird because he just asked me out of the blue on Facebook. I would hit him up on Facebook, and, you know, started asking him just questions because he's got the experience, you know. And so I was just asking questions. Whatever he told me, I'd take the information that he gave me. I put it out on stage, and, you know,
and it went over well.
Yeah, it just went over well. And then I'd get back to him, and he's like, you know, I don't know. I guess Marcus could see that I was just hungry and trying to do, you know, just I was attentive and just serious about my craft. And he just reached out to me and told me to host for him in May. This was like 3 months later. You know, I was just like, all right. And I had no idea how to host. This is my first time hosting.
And this is hosting like a Wednesday night.
No, this is hosting he headlined a show.
Oh.
And like I was like, okay, I'll do it. I mean, like, shit. I mean, it was just like I just wanted to be on stage.
Wow.
You know, and like so I just hit up all my friends. I'm like, guys, I'm hosting for my man Marcus. You know, seen him on Last Comic Stand, and just come out and support. And he just told me, you know, the biggest thing because hosting is very hard. A lot of people think, you know, like when you go to a comedy show, any comedy show, you're going to have the first guy to come up, and that's the host MC. Yeah. His job is to be funny, but also keep the party going. He's also here because a lot of people, especially out here, a lot of people haven't been to a comedy club. You know, I remember seeing Dennis Miller when I was 16, you know, at the Irvine Improv. You know, but like a lot of people out here, I snuck into that show, by the way. Sorry, Dennis. But I remember going to the comedy club, and a lot of people, they don't necessarily know. You know, like they don't know what to do, or
it's not a part of life in Salt Lake City as much as maybe
but it's starting
California.
To grow, and it's starting to grow. I mean, the shows are starting to get more and more packed, and it's just such a cool vibe. And hosting's so hard because you have to be personable. You have to wake them up, snap them out of whatever's distracting them. Because especially the Friday show, the first Friday show, that's Steve Martin. Steve Martin, great comic, one of the best comedians of all time. Said he quit stand up because he doesn't want to do the first Friday show. Because the first Friday show, everybody's there. The energy's they still worried about the kids. They still worried about work. My boss is riding my ass. I probably got to come in tomorrow and do work overtime. They worried about. Did I leave the stove on or some whatever bullshit is bothering them? So you gotta. Your job is to snap them out of it and get them psyched for the headliner and get them warmed up for and then the feature, the openers that come in between. They're just the kind of. They're also the I won't say the filler, but they're also the warm up, and so it's a process.
Yeah.
And so you got to get people involved, but maybe not too involved. But you just got to. Your job is to snap them out. And so for some odd reason, hosting became very natural to me because I loved interacting with the audience. I didn't mind doing crowd work. A lot of people told me work on your material and let the crowd work come later, and I would like jumping in the crowd work because it made it. It always seemed organic.
Did you know how to read your audience right away, or is that something you kind of learned?
Kind of a little sort of. I mean, because I used to play a lot of poker.
Okay.
So I would watch a lot of body language. And you can't really see too much on stage because the Africa lights are just shining in your face.
Yeah.
But I'd pay attention to the front row, and they give you, but it comes from, I think the way I read an audience comes from rocking shows, doing hip hop.
Yeah.
Back in those days, right? Just get the energy up. I'm not telling people to put the hands up and wave them from side to side at the comedy show, but just get that energy up, trying to hype up the crowd,
get some laughs,
just like y'all having a good time with me, say hell yeah, just bullshit like that. And then I would say, and then just read body language, because a lot of people could tell you if you got some guy who's sitting with his arms crossed, maybe either he's cold or he's acting like a bitch or he's just not having a good time.
Yeah.
So but if you got somebody that's relaxed and chill, and then smiles are always the best. Smiles. I love when you can hear a pin drop and you see the whites of their eyes and the whites of their teeth and they just smiling because you just know that they're attentive. So things progressed with Marcus and I started to open up for him and worked with him a lot. Learned a lot from him and Guy Seidel. Just joke machines. Both. I mean, like anybody listening to this, anytime Marcus or Guy does a show, go see them. Those guys are beasts. Then started, what happened? Got involved in the Rocky Mountain Laugh Off, which is a comedy festival out here, and through Wiseguys, and basically started doing all the other clubs. I think Guy Seidel took me on the road to open for him in Rock Springs, and that's when things, and I was like, Rock Springs, Wyoming, whatever, I'll do it. And we ended up having a great show, and I was like, this is what I definitely need to be doing.
Yeah.
And it just took off, and I remember I had people. My favorite color is purple because I'm a big Lakers fan. Sorry in advance. My team sucks right now, but yes, I'm from LA. I'm a huge Lakers fan. I'm a huge LA Kings fan. So that's a lot of purple right there. So I would have people come to my show. I'm like, hey, if you come out to the shows to support me, wear purple.
Okay.
So people started paying attention at the front door. The staff would be like, why are all these people wearing purple? And then one night, like 50 people wearing purple showed up. And they were like, oh, that's Jay's people. So then they started realizing that I kind of had a decent following.
People noticed that, and then they wanted to get you on more shows.
Yeah, and so then that's what can let.
Who were some of like the big acts that you started opening up for? I mean, some of your most memorable.
The first person I opened, the first big name from out of town was Felipe Esparza, who's the last final guy from Last Comic Stand. He was the last on the last season before the show was canceled. He was the big winner.
So were you just like super nervous? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Sweating.
And see, that's the thing. I had seen Felipe, and I know he's a relaxed dude, very relaxed. And then my car broke down. I remember my ex-wife actually had to take me to the venue.
You're like, I can't miss this.
And I told her, I'm like, look, I know we aren't on the best of terms sometimes, but like, can you do me a solid and just drive me to the show? I just got off.
And where this was at one of the Wise Guys.
I was living in Riverdale at the time.
And this was at one of the Wise Guys.
Yeah, this is the Wiseguys of West Bay. I was like, I need to be here in 30 minutes or I'm not gonna get this slot. And because I was freaking out. And I get there, Felipe was cool. It was real cool, and I had my little Kenneth Cole shoes on, my little dress shirt. I was looking clean, and here Felipe wearing like this regular shirt, but he was super nice. I just started like just rubbing noses with all these cool people. My big moment came when I opened for Patrice O'Neal in July of 2011. That shit was crazy. I still to this day that was like amazing to me, because I used to watch Patrice in 2001. He had a bit on how he would keep receipts, because he used receipts as an alibi.
Yeah.
And that shit actually got me out of a ticket. Or not a ticket, but I got pulled over because my vehicle fit the description or whatever, and I was like, "Were you at such and such?" And
and you had a receipt, so you were like,
"No, sir, I'm at Carl's Jr." So I was able to tell Patrice this story. Rest in peace to him. I mean, like, that shit's crazy to me, because I was, I was one of the last people to work with him, because this was it was his first time in Utah.
Wow.
And so he'd never done a show in Utah, and I was,
and you got to open up for him.
Yeah, and it was like crazy. It was like meeting a hero. I mean,
yeah. You ever thought about like doing a podcast? I mean, I know it's really like helpful with comedians. Like nowadays, a lot of them are doing it to kind of promote themselves.
Trust me.
And I mean, all these acts that you're gonna hang out with. I mean, just sit down, talk with them.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be tight.
Because I've met, like, who have I opened for? Jeff Dye, who's actually coming to Valentine's weekend. He'll be at the Trolley Club. Shout out to Jeff Dye, really cool dude from MTV's Money with Strangers, or Money from Strangers. The Sklar Brothers. Let's see, Patrice. I did worked with Steve-O from Jackass.
Oh, I bet you that was a trip.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Chris Kattan.
He's crazy too.
Worked with Mike Epps when he came out here. Opened for Hannibal Buress, who's a friggin' beast.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I'm drawing a blank. Oh, Anthony Jeselnik. Yeah. It's crazy, but and I got a chance to meet all these guys, and they're just super cool. So,
do any comedians around here do podcasts or no?
I know Spencer King was doing some for a minute with Andy Gold and Steve Solberg. I know there's Grumble Mountain with Cody Eden.
Okay.
Cody Eden, Christian Piper, and Arthur Carter. Them dudes are funny as shit. And then there was also Podcat with Christian Piper and Greg Orm. I don't know if they still do it. I'm trying to think.
I just see how much it helps,
yeah.
With comedians, with their, you got.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many comics out here, and we have so much talent. I get mad sometimes when people don't come out to shows. They say, "Oh, it's too expensive. It's $10. It's $10." I went and saw Dennis Miller when I was 16 for $40. Comedy shows out here are you can get them for cheap. The same show that you can see here for $20, it will cost you $50 in another city. Kevin Hart came out here at Wiseguys for 6 shows. 6 shows, it was only $35. Kevin Hart in any other city would have been at least $75.
So do comedians get paid less then for playing like Salt Lake, or is it just kind of the way it is? Not they're not taking as much of the money, I guess.
Well, I don't. That's above my pay.
Yeah. But I mean, you're saying it's cheaper here. I mean,
but
you're getting awesome acts.
You're getting an awesome deal, because let's face it, man. Like, when was the last? Name a good movie that you recently saw.
I probably can't even think of it.
Exactly. Exactly. They're out of ideas, man.
Yeah. But I love stand-up. I love stand-up.
So it's like, but you come to a stand-up show, you're gonna hear something original. You're gonna hear something raw and organic. It's gonna be in your face. There's gonna be moments that's gonna happen where somebody might yell out some stupid shit, and then you just gotta address it.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
When some people can deal with hecklers. I'm not saying I'm the shit with dealing with them, but I feel comfortable engaging in a heckler sometimes. You got to know when to shut it down. Guy Seidel is a fucking animal when it comes to that. I mean, I have seen Guy Seidel just.
I got to get him on this podcast.
Yeah. I saw him hit you up, dude.
Well, we've been talking back and forth. I mean, it's kind of one of those things that
Guy is one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
Him and I we went on tour in Montana. Him and I did a show in we did what 3?
So where have you played outside? So Montana, you mentioned
Wyoming, Tennessee.
Wow.
And so,
do you want to start doing like road trips? I mean, I know a lot of comics will do.
I'm very goal oriented.
Yeah.
It's 2013, and I already got my goals as far as where I want to hit.
I love motivated people. I mean, what motivates you to keep going? I mean, where do you find your motivation from? Just
the rent. The rent, child support, and then you know what it is? It's like I'm 29 years old, there's a lot of young guys that are coming up. You know, Eddie Murphy started when he was like, what, 15, I believe?
I don't, yeah.
I mean, but like a lot of, so you got to realize that I'm 29 years old. I started when I was 27. So there's a sense of urgency that I work with because, and not to say
because you're a little bit later in the scene,
I'm a little
so
bit later
you want to.
I seen guys that are 24 that have been doing it since they're 18, and they're just beasts, you know. And so it's
I mean, where would you like to see this take you? Where would you like to go with it? I mean, the sky's the limit, I guess, right? I mean, you don't know. It's hard to say.
You know, like wherever. You know, like
I mean, like movies. Would you like to do some movies?
I would love to do movies. I actually, you know, in my spare time, I write. So I'm writing a pilot for a show that I'm working on. I won't say it. I can't give out the project.
No, it's chill. But, like a TV show pilot,
yeah,
maybe something that's gonna be on the like.
Yeah, I mean, but it's always having something ready.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know when whomever's gonna come knocking with an opportunity and just say, hey, we want you to do something. But, you know, a comedian named Mike E. Winfield, who I've had the chance to work with. And Mike E. has a show on Fuse TV called Offbeat. He straight up told me, he said, we went out and Steve Solberg and I were kicking another comic, very funny, looks like Kevin Bacon, awkward, but it's really, he told me, he said, when they come knocking, you know, and it's not, and I was like, you know, I was worried about being in Salt Lake, and he's like, dude, if they want you, they'll come find you.
It don't matter where you live if you live in Salt Lake.
That was the realest shit that I needed to hear because he at the time he was out in Sacramento, and he said if they really want you, they'll come find you. He's like, but when they come find you, have something else ready. And that was like some of the best advice. So it taught me to always stay, you know, like I'm already thinking the next move.
And you mentioned like social media and stuff like that. So I see you take advantage of Twitter and Facebook. So that really helps you get out there in front of a lot of people.
I mean, we live in a day and age where, I mean, you know, Twitter followers are great. You know, you know, Facebook people that, you know.
Which one do you like better? It's hard to say. I mean,
I'd have to say Twitter because I can quietly go on a rant.
Yeah.
You know, some people that are on Facebook don't necessarily follow me on Twitter because Twitter out in Salt Lake for whatever reason it's not as big as I feel it should be.
Yeah. But, no, I love Twitter. I used to mess around with like a lot of the comedy stuff on Twitter, and you know, how many stars, how many favorites did you get?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, this and that, and then what's really neat is to get other comedians started following you.
Right.
You know, they're like, oh my gosh, wow,
right.
You know, this and that, and so it's cool. I mean, Twitter is really cool to. Because people aren't so, I'll follow them for a little bit, and if I don't like them, I can unfollow them. Facebook is a little more commitment.
It's a commitment, and it's like you know, these are my photos for my kids, and then game requests and all that stupid shit. I don't give a damn about your crimes in Farmville. I really don't. Can you just be done that? Next person that sends me a request,
I just blocked all that, man.
Oh man, I can't stand that shit. But Twitter. You know, I was tweeting the Super Bowl. I mean, like it's so fun to, like, the Grammys are going on right now as we speak, and people are live tweeting the Grammys. It makes, like, if you're watching the Grammys and got your Twitter up, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I talk a lot of shit. My brother's on Twitter. I'm gonna shout out my own Twitter handles, Token J, like as in token black dude, and then Token TOKENJAY.
Yeah. And I'm going to put that link on the IamSaltLake.com on the show notes, so then everybody seriously follow him. Yeah. I follow you.
I know, and it's fun because I mean it's fun to interact, and I, you know, like, granted I'm from Cali, but like Salt Lake has become a home to me now. As far as this is where I have my comedy roots. I had a chance to work with U92 and host Summer Jam.
Yeah.
Which was
how was that? Was that
Keith Stubbs kind of brought that to the table with me. He called me. He's like, "Hey man, I got a, you know, like, how do you feel about hosting Summer Jam?" I put the phone down because I was like, "What the fuck?" You know, like,
that was like your big.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm like, Summer Jam. I grew up in Cali. Summer Jam is the biggest concert that, you know. And I'm like, yeah, of course. He's like, well, there's gonna be, you know, at the Gallivan, 10,000 people. I'm like, what? Yeah, let's do this shit. And so I went and did it, and had a chance to hang out with great artists like J. Cole, Baby Bash, John, and I had a chance to open up for John Witherspoon from the Friday movies. Bang, bang, bang. You know, play for Pops, and So it was just, it was crazy energy, and just to yell out in front of 10,000 people and tell jokes and have them all response. And my Twitter, I ended up getting like 100 followers in a day.
Just from that.
From that, it was crazy.
Wow. So, I mean, that was like, I mean, that helped get your name out there. That helped.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, Jay Whittaker, this is the guy. Bam, let's go down to Wiseguys or wherever you're performing next.
It was really crazy because I didn't necessarily notice. You know, Marcus always told me, he's like, you'll know you're doing something right when people want to start taking pictures with you after the show.
And did that happen after that?
Shit started happening. It was kind of happening prior to it, but then, like, people, you know, like, yeah, it was
like autographs.
Yeah, it was really weird. And
what's the craziest thing you've had to autograph? Like someone's baby or what?
I have autographed. This actually happened at open mic, and Jacob Lee, who's another comic, can verify this shit. I autographed a Magnum condom.
Nice.
It was some shit that this lady had.
Was it opened?
No, it was like she had it in her purse. She showed up to open mic, and she's like, I'm like, what do you got in your purse? And she had a Magnum. I was like, give me that. And I just autographed it.
Nice.
So it was funny. Damn, I used to do a bit about that. I need to talk about that shit. Yeah, nothing happened. I mean, she was very unattractive, but it was cool. That was Magnum condom. That was weird. Yeah. Things changed after that. And just
what do you think? What do you think? Okay, you mentioned Utah. I mean, you've been here for a little while. Mm-hmm. You've been performing. What do you think the biggest misconception of Salt Lake City is? I mean, I'm sure you even see comics that their first time here performing is. What do you think?
Well, a lot of people that have never been here, they always come, you know, and assume, you know, the Mormons have like 8 wives.
Yeah.
You know, which is like, I mean,
which is a very typical response when I ask people this. You know.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy, but they think uptight. I will say,
but they find out that they're not, and they're like, "Wow, this is actually a really freaking rad place."
I will say this: working in Utah has taught me how to, in my opinion, I think it's great because you kind of have to play to different audiences. You have to learn to read the crowds very quickly, in my opinion, because you know sometimes you'll get a very conservative crowd. And then sometimes you'll get a crowd that just wants to hear dick and fart jokes. Like,
and do you find, okay, so like you have a set maybe planned for the evening, but then do you go out there and you're like, maybe I better tell these jokes,
right?
Or maybe I'll better say these, and you kind of switch it up a little bit.
I sometimes do a set list, but now sometimes I just like to just go up there and see and just take, you know, I hate to quote Groupies, but take what the defense gives me.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I just kind of like I learned that. Know what you're going to start with. Know what you're going to end with. And sometimes you can kind of, if you have enough material, you know, you can play off the crowd and just
go at it. Do you have people like that are? I mean, do you have like groupies now? I mean, do you have people that like follow you around at all, or
no,
like
I
be
would
like?
Say I have groupies. But
well, maybe not groupies isn't the word for comedy people, but you know what I mean. Like people are like, oh, I've seen Jay Whittaker, 15 times.
A woman that I was at the Brandon T. Jackson show last night. She said she saw me in Summer Jam. That was the first time she seen me. She's seen me 4 times, and and
that must make you feel pretty cool.
It is cool to have repeat visitors, and it's cool to get recognized. And, I got recognized by an elderly lady. She saw me on Good Things Utah, and she was like, "I know you from somewhere." And she's like, "You're a comic." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And she's like, "You were on Good Things Utah, and you were so nice and well spoken." I was like, "Oh, thank you, Miss." It was just nice that
So you attract, to all the people. You got young people, old people.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Yeah. It's nice to know that people are paying attention. Sometimes I've done the Daily Dish on CW30, which is actually now on ABC. 4 after the View at 11. I'll actually be on there on Wednesday, on February 13th, to talk about Valentine's Day.
Okay.
They do a segment edition with the dudes, and I got a little I became a repeat visitor on there, and so but it was just really just reaching out to my my networks. I ended up being a guest. First radio show I did was with Mick and Allen at K-Bear. Then I ended up going on U92. And I did Radio from Hell for like an hour with them, and then now I'm like a recurring guest on Mix 107 with Lexi and Banks and the Mix Morning Fix.
Nice.
And they asked me to do their segment, Is It Racist? And we did that for about a few months, and that kind of died down. Now on Fridays I do the Man Panel with where ladies call in or men sometimes call in and have they present it to this panel of men, and we decide man law. And so it's cool, you know, but it's you got to stay working, you know. And like that's all I'm trying to do. Radio, whether it's be radio, TV, or in the clubs. I hosted a fashion show. I working with concerts. I do charity gigs. So it's just really all about
you put yourself out there wherever you're at, and
I
mean you're always sending emails out, voicemails, whatever, text messages. If you could open up for anybody, like let's say you had a choice to open up for any comedian or person or band. I mean, I guess you could, you know, I mean, who just first person that comes to your mind, past, present.
The first two that popped in my head were still Bill Burr. I still want to open for Bill Burr someday, and Kevin Hart. It's Kevin Hart. When I saw his show, like in 2 weeks later, I was on stage. It was just kind of, so that would be. But that's just more. That's me at the time now. If I could think of any name, I mean any. Put this way. Realistically, I just want to be on stage.
You just want to be. You don't care. I mean, you'll play in front of 5 people, 500 people, 5,000 people.
Yeah,
10, you'll do it all.
You know, like I hope to. But the thing is, I love California, and I miss home. Like I said earlier, my comedy roots are here. You know, and I love my son, and I'm gonna raise him in the state of Utah.
It's a good state for families.
It's a great state
for families.
Everybody's like, dude, why are you out there? You better not be a jazz fan. I'm like, no, I'm a jazz supporter. You know, I've come around because I actually met Karl Malone at the Mike Epps show, and this is like the craziest day of my life because I'm sitting there. I had this misdirected hostility towards Karl Malone for.
I mean, how was that pretty cool, I guess, huh?
It was awkward.
Yeah.
It was awkward because I was like, and I'm like, because I called my brother. I'm like, dude, you'll never guess who's at the show. Karl Malone is here at the Mike Epps show. He's like, dude, you better talk shit, man. You better hold it down. I look up and I see 6'8" Karl Malone. I didn't say shit because Karl Malone he's still. Have you seen? I mean, I didn't say shit. I shook his hand. He said I was real funny, and I was like, "Thank you, Mr. Malone, sir." I was like,
all proper, like
I couldn't help it because I you know, this is the moment I was waiting for to talk shit to Karl Malone. I was like, yeah, and man, I didn't say a damn word.
you come up and pop you one.
Because the thing was, I realized I'm like, this dude was on the dream team. You know. One of the greatest scorers ever, you know. So I'm like, this is the fucking mailman. You can't talk like. And this dude just was so nice to me. He told me I had a great set. I was like, I ain't gonna talk shit to her, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just let bygones be bygones. I was like, screw it, man.
Yeah.
Like that was an awkward day for me. I went home and I was like, man, I didn't say shit to him, and my brother was mad, but it's all good.
What's so you I want to lightly touch on about the local comedy scene here real quick. You mentioned a few of your favorites. I mean, is there a lot of people that are trying to get into it? I mean, like
it's
Wednesday nights. I mean, it's
picking up.
I mean, what do you think about it as a whole? The Salt Lake,
the open mic scene is picking up. It usually spikes around like because everyone has New Year's resolutions. So January through March is really where you'll see open mic just. You know, because it's winter time. People ain't really got shit to do. They can't be outside, so they need to find something to do. So they start writing.
So hypothetically, let's say I wanted to go down on a Wednesday night. Boom, I could sign up. I could get on stage usually, or is it pretty easy?
Well, you got to get there. I'd say sign-ups at 7. You got to get there around 6. The list fills up kind of quick, but we have like so much talent. You know, Andy Gold just moved to New York. Beast, absolute beast.
Yeah.
And, Marty Archibald, who's in New York as well. You know, Greg Orm, Christian Piper, Levi Rounds, who, 3-time winner of, Best Comedian in Utah. He's in L.A. You know, I'm sure he's killing it. Cody Eden, Jerry Mabbitt, legend, local legend. Keith Stubbs, legend. Ben Fuller. I mean, there's
a lot of good comedians really in Salt Lake.
Natasha Moyer. I mean, I can go on. Tim Thorne, Guy Seidel, Marcus, Jacob Lee. Shit, man.
Where do you think you'd be if comedy would have never been introduced to your life? Like, even as a kid, you were talking about some of these great comedians that you've seen. I mean, can you imagine what your life would be like?
I don't even know.
I mean,
I don't even know, man. I mean, like, I really don't know because my brother. Well, he's not necessarily my brother. We just known each other since we were 6 months old.
Yeah,
and we're born 26 days apart. So like we've known each other since we were in diapers.
Yeah.
So when you kind of shit together with somebody,
they're your brother.
Some kind of bond.
Yeah.
We're boo boo brothers, but it's like it's with I don't know. We used to play stupid games as a kid. We used to have this one game called African American Ninjas. No shit, that's the name of the game. And African American Ninjas, the premise was, it was basically, all it was just a glorified breaking and entering. That's really what it, like, that's all we were doing, was like trying to sneak into the neighbor's backyard undetected, like using the ninja way. But we were just, it was just three black kids. It was just run around L.A. being stupid. But, we used to, I don't know, I feel like I'd probably, I don't know, I'm not saying I'd be in the streets, but I don't know.
It kept you out of trouble.
I don't know.
Or maybe it got you in more trouble.
I don't know, yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Well, because my parents kind of had a rule, like I never made a lot of trouble in school. But, the rule was, if it was funny.
Have your parents got an opportunity to see you do stand-up?
Yeah,
or no?
My dad saw me headline my first show. And,
nice.
My first headline was the same year I started, was in 2011, and I got the opportunity to headline. I think it was in September, and my dad flew out from California, sat in the front row.
And you just feel like $1 million, I bet, up there.
He was proud.
Well, he was proud.
I was happy that he was there, because he learned a lot of shit about me that he did not know.
Yeah.
Like when I lost my virginity, and then I used to steal his little R&B CDs.
Does that make you uncomfortable as a comedian though? Like saying certain things like that. I've always been curious on comedians, like if they know, oh, my aunt's in the audience or my mom's in the audience, maybe a certain bit about sex or drugs or anything like where you're just like, well, and I guess so much of it could be not true at the same time.
But the thing is, a lot of the shit that I talk about is very true.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's people that know me, they'll come to support. They'll be like, damn, he's talking about me. He may not be saying my name. But,
yeah.
They know who,
Well, I was just wondering as a whole. I mean, I guess every comedian's different. Some people are a little more
For me,
open.
though, I do talk about what's personal to me. I mean, and so it does touch on race.
Yeah.
And like one lady came up to me after the show. She's like, I really like your comedy, but she's like, I think sometimes you touch a little bit too much on race. I'm like, listen, lady, I grew up in L.A. and I moved out to Utah. Do you know every minority, especially the black ones, can speak they can speak. I'm telling you, I know I'm preaching to the choir. They will tell you, odd shit happens to us.
In Utah, because
it's just a weird place sometimes for a black person to be. I'm not playing a race card. It just is what it is. And so I'm literally just telling these stories that just happened to me.
Yeah.
And so because it's kind of an odd place for me to go. I'm trying to do everything in reverse. I went to Salt Lake City to blow up as a comic, but
most go to like New York or LA.
But I love it here because the vibe is great.
Yeah.
Well,
excellent. I appreciate you. You got a show coming up. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's mention that. Who you playing? You're headlining? Yeah,
it's my show. I'll be doing roughly about an hour, and I'll be at the Wiseguys, Ogden, right across the street from Brewski's. So any Ogdenites, come see me.
Or Salt Lake City people, head on up, drive
Salt
up.
Lake City, Salt Lake Cityans. Is that what it is?
I don't know. I like it though. Salt Lake
Cityans or SLCians. Please come and see me. It's you guys are seriously some of the greatest crowds. The energy, I have an energetic show. I'm gonna talk about relationships. I'm gonna talk about sex. I'm gonna talk about race. I'm gonna talk about just goofy shit. I'm gonna talk about music. Because music is such a big part of my life. I'm gonna talk about. I got something for everybody. I'm gonna talk about parents.
And is it like a set? Is there 7 to 9? Is that?
Oh no, it's actually I'm doing one show. I'm doing one show at 8:00. On a Friday.
Okay.
So Friday the 15th, and then Saturday the 16th at 8:00. So.
And do you have an opener, or do you know?
I'm not sure.
Do you know who it is?
I heard Chuck Ryan is coming out to open. That's gonna be awesome. Chuck Ryan is a great guy, a great comic.
Nice.
And I'm excited to have him. I'm not sure who else is on, but I know.
It'll be a good time.
As I said, whoever's on the show, we're gonna have a blast. I can't wait to do it. I've headlined the Wiseguys in West Valley, and I've headlined the Wiseguys at Trolley, but I haven't headlined the Wiseguys in Ogden.
So this is your first time then?
Yeah,
doing
this will be my first time, and I haven't been up to Ogden.
So definitely come out and support that.
I got all my military people, come support a fellow veteran.
Yeah.
Just
show your support.
It'll be a great time, and we're gonna party afterwards. I'm gonna go probably kick it with Jeff Dye because he'll be at Trolley this weekend.
Nice.
And I'm gonna go kick it with him, and we're gonna tear it down this weekend.
So, and then follow you on Twitter, Token J.
Yeah, Token J. Actually, and there's a website, tokenj.com. I do have a Tumblr page. So I do blog, but I just don't keep updated. But add me on Facebook. I got.
And is it just Jay Whittaker on Facebook?
Jay Whittaker,
okay.
Whittaker. An extra T, not like Forrest Whitaker, but just J. And just like me.
And that'll keep you up to date on even future. I mean, because do you have any other future shows planned yet?
Yeah, actually, February 20th, I'll be going back to Rock Springs. I'm excited to do that because that is a great time. I go up to this. So
Rock Springians.
Yes, Rock Springians, Wyoming. I can't even say Wyomingans, but Johnny Mac's Good Time Tavern. That place is friggin' awesome.
Nice.
They just pack them in. It's like 150 seat room. Golly, they know how to party. If they like you, what they do is they send you a shot.
Yeah.
So last time, and they.
So that's February 20th.
Oh yeah, February 20th.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll be on Daily Dish. Look for me on there. Listen for me every Friday on Mix 107 until they tell me to stop coming through. But I do Mix 107 in the mornings. And then, I've always got something.
You're all over the place.
I got something going on because I got goals for this year, and I plan to hit it. But I definitely want to give a big thank you to Salt Lake. You guys are. Man,
I love it.
I mean,
isn't it a great city? I mean, it really is. And even with this project, I mean, just to see the response. I mean, it's they want everybody to succeed here.
Exactly.
I mean, they really do. They really
that's
do.
what I'm saying. I'm rooting for everybody. Like there's a lot of people that I don't necessarily talk to sometimes because I'm so damn busy. But I'm rooting for everybody.
Yeah, I love it
because this is a place to be because there's we got influx of people from Arizona, California, Nevada, and Oregon, and they're all saying, "Holy shit, man! There's a market out here. The jobs are good, the economy's good, the air quality.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad to live in price wise, economic wise.
Yeah, if you could deal with the damn inversion, getting sick every damn week. But other than that,
amen to that.
Yeah, I'm just like, but other than that, drink a hot toddy and call it good. But this place is awesome. We got Park City. I mean, I'm trying to do. I wanted to eventually get up to Park City and do some comedy down there. But I love this place, man.
Yeah.
I love it. So Salt Lake, I love you guys.
Come out on the this weekend, Friday,
Saturday. Come. Let me say the rap thing. Come holla at your boy. I don't even talk like that, but that's.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Jay. Anything else you want to anything else you want to add?
Just make sure you guys support the Salt Lake scene. I mean, and get out there to the comedy clubs. Check out Complex, check out Wiseguys, check out K-Town. I mean, check them all out. I mean, there's so many great comics out here, and just support it because I'm telling you, you guys are getting quality comedy at a great price. At a great price.
Yeah.
At a great price. And we have great comics here. So support your local people. I mean, we're grassroots, baby. We're doing this shit from the ground up, all right?
I love it.
I love this.
What a fun guy. Thank you so much, Jay, for sitting down with me and sharing your story with the rest of my podcast listeners. Again, you can follow him on Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to put all those links at iamsaltlake.com/episode 43. He's going to be up at the Wiseguys in Ogden this weekend. I'm going to put all that information on the website as well. Make sure you go check that out. Check him out when he's playing a show near you. If you're out of Salt Lake City and he's coming to town, make sure to check him out. Again, thank you everybody for your support, for your emails, for your voicemails. 385-202-5926 is the voicemail. If you feel like kicking over $1 or $2, if you like the project that I'm doing, you can go to iamsaltlake.com/donate. Those are much appreciated. Again, my name is Chris Hollifield. I'm going to be back here on Sunday showcasing a new individual, a professional, just somebody making Salt Lake City what it is today. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for listening.